video is we're not quite there on doing the second part video of the dart frog vivarium, but I thought today we're getting closer. But let's take a peek at where we're at. But mainly for today, I want to show you guys how incredible these grow bins are working out. It's awesome. So simple, so easy to do, but wait till you see the results. Let's take a peek. All right, so the dart frog vivarium, as I mentioned, there's been no change since last video. I have acquired some different materials and so forth, but as you can see, it's all been dried. We've gone and got the cocoa fiber, and we've covered up all the different areas of the silicone and stuff. It's pretty much ready to go for the next stage. I did find these at one of my reptile stores, these incredible looking vines, and these are going to be entwined in this thing in some form or fashion. But when it comes to all the plantings and everything like that, I still have those two big bromeliads that I showed you guys before. There's still one of them's going to go in here for certain. Probably not two, but I'm not 100% certain. Maybe we can put one down here and maybe one will go up there, but it's going to be right up close to the lights by the time it's done. And then we do have to go in turn modify the lid so it's not full ventilation like that. Something to control the humidity a little bit better. And then we'll have to install the misters. But because the room isn't necessarily ready for this yet, we have to move a bunch of stuff out of that room and make some racks. I haven't been in a rush to go and do this because the minute I go and plant this, it needs good quality lighting. It also needs good ventilation and humidity, which I'm not quite there yet. So as you can see, the two big bromeliads, they're still there. They're still waiting. They're just thriving in the window here. I had a little bit of water in the tray and they do absolutely fine. But let's go take a peek at all the plants and how well they're doing in those grow bins. So this is that repurposed rack that used to be in the laundry room that used to contain all the isopod bins. It's just out here temporarily. It's just basically, I didn't know what to do with it. And then the idea of setting up all these grow bins kind of came up. And it's worked out very, very well for this purpose. It's just a stainless steel baker's rack available at any home hardware type store. And it has one 36-inch sun blaster. Some have the ordinary T5s like that one there. This one here is probably an ordinary T5, but as you can see by the little dots here, this one is actually an LED conversion bulb, so it's a little bit more intense. And then the bottom one is just another T5 as well. But let's take a peek at the plant growth inside some of these bins. So for anybody really asking, the bulk of these bins, the smaller ones, these are the medium size, they didn't have the one size up, so I have a couple actually other types of bins there, and then one, the real big one. They are all the same type of bin. They're all the Samla bins, and they're all from IKEA. And you can buy the bin itself, or you can buy the lid as well. So you can buy them as individual pieces. Now, these are all those bromeliads. You guys saw these earlier when we talked about the frog thing. But they're all doing absolutely wonderful in this environment. And honestly, the honest truth is, as long as there's some moisture in there, you don't even have to water it. So they're doing really, really well. I brought back this incredible little begonia. I don't even remember the name of it, but I could easily get it again. But check out the leaves on this incredible little begonia I got. I picked this up at the American Cichlid Association, and it quite often has little flowers on it. The one's just spent there, and it sends out little roots, so it's an easy one to do nice little cuttings out of as well. So it gives a nice little punch of color and some nice variegation. And then the third one on this shelf is this one here. And this one's kind of become kind of a catch-all bin. Now, several of the plants in here, as the guys, I've mentioned it before in the other video, is because you're going to be buying these individual plants, you want to kind of set them up in these kind of grow chambers so you can take little pieces of them, add them to your vivariums. So in this one here, we have one type of begonia. I do not remember the names of all of them. I'll try and look them up. I still have all the containers and bags. Almost all these plants are all from Understory Enterprises, which is an incredible source here we have in Canada. Another gorgeous begonia with some incredible texture on the leaves. This is actually a piece of resurrection fern, which was just kind of accidentally came home with me from Florida on one of those trips. And it does really, really well, but it's that fern. I'll put the link up to the video of the resurrection fern in the corner there. It's a plant that can it can tolerate the life in Florida, where it can go completely dry out. It can lose like 85% of its moisture and just sit dormant and wait for the rains. Look at that incredible new leaf coming here. Bright red. Gorgeous plants. This is another incredible fern type plant. I can't remember the name of it, but I'll try and find it and I'll put them in here. It also came from Understory Enterprises. And this one here, this one's growing decidedly different. Now, I'm not sure if it's got too much light, not enough light, but let's see if we can get a close-up on this one. Check out the leaves on that. But it's a pretty rangy looking plant. It kind of grows kind of weedy, but it's got this almost like starry night kind of look to it. Absolutely gorgeous. Now the two bins on the other shelf were bins that I already had. They had the kind of the gasket style bins that I've used for my isopods. But this one is mainly just pothos. There's a bit of the Cebu blue in here as well. That's just kind of growing. And I believe that's I think it's a type of monster. It's one of those shingling plants that actually needs something to actually grow on. Otherwise, the leaves just curl up on itself and forms this little pocket. But ideally, it should be growing like it is here on a little plank of wood or something. But as long as I can keep it alive growing in here, just on some damp sphagnum moss, that's the only thing that's in these bins. That's it. It's just a bit of damp sphagnum moss. You can take cuttings out of here almost indefinitely for your vivarium builds and so forth. There's some micans down there. Wonderful. All right, this bin's really, really cool. This is the only bin that I actually have something other than just sphagnum moss on the bottom. This one actually does have a bit of soil substrate. It's my nice, loose, loamy soil substrate mix that I use for almost all my builds. These are super, super cool. They look like palm trees. And these are Biophytum sensitivum. And the really, really cool thing about them is they self-seed. So I originally started with 3 small ones, 1, 2, 3, and I have them popping up all over the place. As long as you contain them in something like this that can catch the seeds, you will always have a supply of them going forward. And this is one of those different types of ficus. It's still in its pot, but I just left it in here. You can take cuttings at any time. Nice different types of leaves. Some signalia. And this is actually an aquarium plant that was grown in, this is from Tropica, is one of those 1-2 grow type things, and they're grown in kind of an agar paste. And I just transferred it here because it's a humid environment. And this is a hydrocotyl, a little mini hydrocotyl. And this would be a marsh type plant, but in this environment, it just absolutely thrives. And then the cool thing to me is that you often see these different types of things emerge, like different types of ferns. I never planted this. It just appeared within the substrate within this one little biophytum. So those type of things to me are really, really cool. But look how that bin is already filling in. You know, we're getting there to the point that we can really start doing some really cool builds. Now this is that big bin I was telling you about. It's, it's almost 30 inches or 32 inches long. It's got some really big, rangy kind of plants in it that have kind of somewhat taken over. Now, here's some pretty, this is a type of varicosum, philodendron varicosum with the nice undercar leaves. It's also got the hirsute hairs all over the stems. So nice hairy stems. Gorgeous, gorgeous plant, but very, very viney type habitat. I've got a couple of different squamiferas, like this one here, that get those really heavy, coarse hairs all over the stem and that lobed leaf. Really, really attractive. There's 2 of those in here, one here, and then one on the other side as well. And then I got this really cool one. I can't remember which one was this. But look at the stems on that thing. And a huge leaf. This one here doesn't like the moisture on its leaves as much, but it's just thriving in this environment. I think if this one here were placed on that jungle wall once it's complete and it was getting misted every day and had good air ventilation like a fan that would allow the leaves to dry out before night, I think it would absolutely thrive. Then we also have I can't remember if it's another type of biophytum. This one gets decidedly larger and it has these much heavier leaves. But this one does not self-seed. This one would require pollination. And then we've got this little white one. I can't remember the name of that one. It's a pretty common one, but it's got these beautiful little purple flowers. And then I have this incredible begonia down here. Just check out the leaves on that thing. That is incredible. Just some incredible plants doing incredibly well, literally in a Rubbermaid tub under an LED light with really no ventilation to speak of. There's no vents on here. I've resisted doing that. One is that because I haven't been home a lot, been busy, and I want to make sure that no matter what ventilation I put in place, that I can control it, that things don't dry out. But also that, there's a good look at those little flowers there. Really, really cool. But I also want to make certain that I don't have any introduction of any pests of any kind. So I did buy some exceptionally thin or small, poor ventilation cloth that is actually used for making things to protect people from no-see-ums. So that is something I can install vents and then put that fabric in place. Just haven't gotten around to do it, and everything is doing very, very well. Now the next bin is just more of that incredible begonia vine. And then I've added other types of things. I honestly don't know if they came in some different potted plants. I've got this little tiny small-leafed one coming here. It's just something a little bit different. You can see it here. Don't know what it is, but it seems to be taking off really, really well in these little chambers. Now on the next two, the last two, I have all sorts of different kind of diminutive plants like Magravias and so forth. This one here is actually related to Java fern. This is a true microsorium. This is a linguiniform, and it is taken off. Like I literally only had one little clump, and it has really taken off. You can see it kind of spreading everywhere here, spreading pretty rapidly. So that's really, really cool. It's doing really, really well. It's a rhizomaceous plant. Now, some of the plants, and absolutely, I want to make mention, this is absolutely no fault whatsoever of Understory. When I purchased a fairly fair-sized order last time, was at the last expo, they delivered to me, instead of delivering them in like little containers, they were delivered in like Ziploc bags kind of thing. And a lot of them were very, very compressed. So I did lose several of the plants because I was in town in Toronto for more than a week. But some of them are starting to kind of bounce back. Like this one here is one of the Magravia bronze type things. And I'm just leaving it to see if it'll establish because I just need a little bit of it to come back and then it eventually will thrive. This one's doing okay. This is one of the big Satensi, and it's just a little tiny pieces left, but I've got a nice shiny new growth, and that's a Magravia that gets rather, rather large. So, with a bit of patience, these things will often bounce right back. How's this for an absolute tub of awesomeness? So we've got another different type of vining fern type here with really, really nice striations on the leaves. Different types of Magravias. This one is one of the umbulatum types. This one I can't remember. I have a bunch of them that came with a lot of them are undescribed, so they just kind of come with silly kind of trade names. But here's another different type of, this one's not doing very well. This one's appeared to have rotted away. But then there's this unique little plant here, this little ferny type thing, and some different types of mosses and stuff. You just need little tiny portions to kind of get started. And you can see most of them have nice new growth on them, doing very, very well in this type of environment. But the one thing I find really, really cool about here is this one thing. Let's take a closer look. So when you start taking a closer look at some of these things, you really get to see the different textures and colors. You know, the older growth, the newer growth gets a lot more color to it. Same, they're very similar with a lot of the different Magravias. You know, older growth going through until you get the bright red new growth. And then there's that fancy little moss. Don't know, just need a little portion. It was sold as a portion about the size of a toonie. For anybody that lives in the States, that's our $2 coin. And it's about an inch and a quarter in diameter. But look at the little leaves on this. Isn't that cool? Awesome, awesome stuff. But the thing I find my favorite is when random things pop up. Like, what is that? I have no idea. But it popped up in the middle of that. So I think it's pretty cool. It's obviously a totally different plant. No idea. But to me, that's the coolest thing. And that's the best thing about when you set up these type of vivariums is these little hidden surprises that often emerge. Yeah, so here's one of those ones. Gives you an example of the type of bag it was. It's a little kind of Ziploc bag. And normally for shipping, that's something if I were to ship, I'd have no problem shipping a product like this all the way to myself and then unpacking it, putting it in the Vivs. But leaving in my hotel room in a box in the dark for a full week in the little bag wasn't the best for it. So I've reordered this one. This is a Begonia Dodsoni crispa. Ooh, quick little fancy little growing little vine with cool little leaf shapes, nice little hairs. Awesome, awesome little plant. So I can't be happier with the amount of the selection and the plants that I've gotten from these guys. Anybody's ever looking for anything for vivariums, you got to definitely check them out. So it gives you an idea how simple and quick and easy this could be. A couple of Rubbermaid tubs, some good lights. That's pretty much about it. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Till next time, my friends, take it easy. Cheers.